A month and a few days ago, Formnext 2025 took place in Frankfurt, Germany. It is a leading international trade fair focused on additive manufacturing and modern industrial production technologies. My friend and I decided to get on a plane and fly for at least 2 days. It was our first Formnext and neither of us knew what to expect. I personally was looking forward to news from home 3D printing and how they would knock me off my feet. I was knocked off my feet, but the reasons were completely different. So let's take a look at Formnext through the eyes of someone who has lived in the bubble of home 3D printing up until now. I'm not going to show you the individual stands as I visited them. Instead, I will show them in alphabetical order and give you some commentary at the end of the video. So let's get started. 3D Systems is an American company that specializes in 3D printing related technologies. It offers industrial 3D printers, materials, software, and services for custom manufacturing and healthcare. They develop and manufacture 3D printers for both plastic and metals. They supply a wide range of materials and also offer design and production control software. What makes the company interesting is that it combines a complete ecosystem from design to printing to the final product. Its technologies are used in aerospace, automotive, medical, and consumer electronics. What was really interesting was this skeleton printed from different materials. 3D Evo is a Dutch company that specializes in the production of custom filament making and plastic recycling equipment. It is known for offering compact machines that allow to produce filament directly from granulate or proceed waste. This supports the principles of the circular economy. Their new filament maker 2 was on display from them at the fair, and it was there in all its glory. Additive Appearance is a Czech company based in Prague that specializes in color 3D printing. It develops its own software and tools that address the visual side of additive manufacturing. The software allows to accurately simulate the appearance of prints, mix colors, and achieve high visual quality without wasting material. Airtech is a global manufacturer of advanced composite and additive materials based in California, USA. Their stand featured a beautiful demonstration of a product created using 3D printing. I have to say that I really liked the idea of having this ping-pong table at home. But this wasn't the only thing they came to the fair with. They came to the fair to introduce their new AltForm granular materials for large format 3D printing. AltForm is a new brand that was created in 2025 by the rebranding of Prima Additive, originally from Italy, after its takeover by Japanese company Sodic. The company focuses on metal 3D printing and advanced laser technology. Their stand was one great showcase of beautiful metal prints. Anycubic is a Chinese company that is one of the most well-known manufacturers of desktop 3D printers for hobby and semi-professional use. For most of us, this is a printer manufacturer that we know very well and probably won't surprise us with anything special. What caught my eye at their stand was the new Anycubic Cobra X printer. This one actually had a second generation ACE unit right on the print head. Thanks to this, there is no need to have any older unit on the side as a filament feeder. APS Robotics is an Austrian company that specializes in advanced 3D printing and production automation technologies. It combines additive manufacturing from granulates with post-machining and integration of older processes to create complete manufacturing solutions for industry. I took a closer look at their tool changer with 4 tools. It can print and incorporate continuous carbon fiber, glass fiber, or, for example, metal wire into the prints. Their print heads are water-cooled and reach temperatures up to 500 degrees C. As if that weren't enough, the heated bed can warm up to 200 degrees C. A hobby version of the continuous carbon filament printer is offered by FibreSeek, for example. We will look at that later. Avenco Robotics is a Turkish company that specializes in industrial robotics and large format 3D printing. They had a KUKA robotic arm on the stand, which had its own chassis with tracks for printing from literally anywhere. I was surprised at how good the print quality was achieved with such a monster. There is no need to introduce the Chinese company Bambu Lab. At Formnext, their two-story booth was visible from a distance. There was also a presentation of their 3D printers in combo variants. As a new product, the H2C with Vortex system was introduced here. We will hear a lot more about it in the future, but in short, it's a system that can swap the right nozzle of the printhead as needed. It has a total of 6 of these nozzles and can do so very effectively minimize the amount of waste during color or material changes. The only thing that's currently bad about the system is the time needed for nozzle change, which is currently around 40 seconds. They also had this giant city with various remote-controlled vehicles based on their CyberBrick platform here. The German company BigRep brought their large-format printer BigRep 1 to showcase. It has a print volume of 1 cubic meter. I was quite surprised that this printer doesn't print from pellets but from a spool with filament. The spool was located on the back of the printer. Its weight was 8 kilograms and the filament diameter was 2.85 millimeters. Also there was Chinese company Biqu+, which specializes in desktop 3D printers, upgrade parts and accessories. The first thing that caught my eye was their version of a filament feeder like the AMS from Bambu Lab. However, this can be used with more or less any 3D printer running on the Clipper firmware. They also had a very unique stone wolf 3D printer from the Czech company Stone. Very interesting was the demonstration of this lightly modified Bambu Lab P1P, which looked like it was going to walk off the table at any moment. CEAD company in Delft, Netherlands has opened a new maritime application center for large format 3D printing of boats with hull lengths up to 12 meters. At Formnext there was the opportunity to see the ship, which is already a final product after post-processing and final tuning to perfection. And there was also a ship that had not yet had any processing. It was printed from recycled polypropylene with 30% fiberglass. It took just 9 hours to print and was printed at a speed of 18.8 kilograms of material per hour. For someone who prints on a standard desktop FDM printer, this is an unimaginable speed. CEAD doesn't just print ships. For example, here you can see the printing of a sound system for speakers. These could be seen mounted and hung right at the CEAD stand. Ceratizit is a Luxembourg-based company that specializes in hard metal materials, cutting tools, and solutions for machining and additive manufacturing. They are increasingly focusing on additive manufacturing from extremely durable and heat-resistant metals. These include, for example, molybdenum, tungsten, or cemented carbide. Italian company CMS presented their large-format 3D printer CMS Creator A3. Imagine large format printing as a working space of 3.5 to 2.5 to 1.3 meters, with the ability to print up to 9.8 meters in length. It is equipped with a patented single screw extruder with a flow rate of up to 30 kilos of granulate per hour. The tilting head enables printing at angles of 0, 45 and 90 degrees for higher part strength. The nozzle has a diameter of 10 to 15 mm and operates at temperatures up to 450 degrees C, so it handles even high-performance polymers and composites. The hybrid system combines 3D printing and CNC machining in one machine. I probably don't need to introduce the Chinese company Creality. At their stand, there was this beautiful 3D printed city and also their 3D printed mascot. A wide variety of their latest products was visible at the trade fair. I was personally interested in the new version of the Ender 3 version 4 combo 3D printer. I started on the Ender 3 printer and I really like that they keep trying to keep its name alive. Delva is a Finnish expert in metal 3D printing that offers production of parts from nickel, copper, aluminum, and titanium alloys using PBF technology, which is a method where metal powder is sintered by laser into the final part. There were plenty of eye-pleasing prints at their stand. DMG Mori is a German-Japanese engineering group that is one of the largest machine tool manufacturers in the world and is also heavily involved in the field of metal 3D printing. It is best known for its LaserTech range, which combines additive manufacturing with conventional CNC machining. At their booth, there was an opportunity to see the LaserTech 65DET hybrid. This is an industrial machine that combines metal 3D printing by directed energy deposition with full 5-axis CNC milling. This enables it to produce complete parts in one operation, from material welding to final machining. There was also, for example, the LaserTech 30 SLM 3rd generation, which offers a build area of 325 to 325 to 400 mm. It features a laser with power up to 1000 watt and is designed for complex metal parts weighing up to 400 kilograms. I looked at the prints at their booth with bated breath. The printers we have at home can't even come close to these products. DyeMansion is a German company that specializes in post-processing of polymer 3D prints. This means cleaning, surface treatment, and coloring of parts. Their technology can turn rough prints into aesthetically and functionally valuable products that are on par with injection-molded plastics. Many of the products on display really manage to impress with the quality of their workmanship, such as these glasses, or this ball which is printed from their own material. This material allows this ball to really function as a standard basketball without the need for airfill, and no, it is not a PIBA material. The Chinese company Eibos came to show off its filament dryers. The Series X Tetras dryers are definitely worth mentioning as an extension to the Bambu Lab AMS. These allow the addition of 2 or 4 chamber drying up to 65 degrees C. Also, there was their new product called Polypemous, which is a dryer that can dry up to 80 degrees C and rotate the spool during the drying process. An extension can also be purchased to allow the drying of spools with 3 kilograms of material. The Chinese company Elegoo probably doesn't need to be introduced. At their stand, you could see, for example, their Centauri Carbon 2, both as a standalone unit and in a combo version with their filament feeder called Canvas. Their resin 3D printers were also on display here, along with resins and a cleaning station. Polish manufacturer Fanum brought their Fanum Lambda ST to their stand, which is a universal gantry CNC. In addition to printing, it can subsequently machine the print. I arrived just at the moment when printing of a small boat from expanded polystyrene was in progress, which is a lightweight, rigid and strong foam material composed of 2% polystyrene and 98% air. Dutch company Felix Printers has come to show off some of its industrial FDM printers. From my own experience, I know that their printers are made with quality components, which was also evident in the models on display. They even had a printer called Go1 that was showing what looked like nonlinear, aka non-planar printing. They also had one very nicely sized XXL printer. FibreSeek is an international 3D printing startup that focuses on making continuous carbon fiber reinforcement technology available to the general public. Their new FibreSeek 3 3D printer is the first home desktop printer with continuous carbon fiber. It combines conventional FDM printing with a second nozzle that inserts the carbon filament directly into the print. The result is a part with tremendous strength. This piece, for example, is said to be able to hold up to 1 ton. I also stopped by the Czech filament manufacturer FilamentPM. They came here to show a large amount of materials from their portfolio in the form of printed heads displayed on the wall. I like the presentation of their materials in the form of a 3D printed tree. Behind this product stands the Czech company 3D Stisk. HeyGears is a Chinese company specializing in resin 3D printers, software, and digital manufacturing solutions. Their main focus is on the medical, orthotics, prosthetics, and consumer industries. In addition to the very professional-looking resin printers, there was also a demonstration of lots of prints. These included a variety of jewelry as well as action figures. Although these were very detailed prints, my eye was focused on the next table. On it were lots of prints for dental clinics, ranging from various appliances to full dentures. At the fair, HP boasted a large number of products made with various technologies. Most often, however, their HP multi-jet fusion technology. There were, for example, shoes from French startup Something Edit, which focuses on the mass production of 3D printed sport shoes. Or there were these Dolce Vita women's sandals on display, which also come from a 3D printer. There were also various medical braces and various rehabilitation aids from the 3D printer. With MJF technology, even very light but durable nylon 12 drone frames can be printed. HP also brought along many samples printed with HP Metal Jet technology. This is a metal 3D printing technology that uses a binder instead of a laser and enables fast, cost-efficient mass production of metal parts. There was even a small model of their flagship HP Metal Jet S100 on display. There was also a demonstration of these prints after post-processing. I really liked the demonstration of the actual product in the form of loop hearing protectors created in collaboration with Swarovski. And the last thing I stopped at was this unique chessboard that celebrates the raw power of matter in all its forms. This is a unique stainless steel chess set from Elegoo paired with a stone chessboard from Taurini. IEMAI 3D is a Chinese company specializing in industrial 3D printers for high-temperature materials, large-format printing, and granulate extruders. Its machines are designed for applications in aerospace, automotive, petrochemistry, healthcare, and electronics, where printing from polymers such as PEEK, PEC, PEI, PPSU, or PPS is required. At Formnext, their 3D printer labeled Magic HT Pro was on display. The print area is 310 to 310 to 410 mm. The nozzle can reach temperatures up to 500 degrees C, the heated bed can be heated up to 200 degrees C, and the chamber can be heated up to 120 degrees C. Incus is an Austrian metal 3D printing company that has developed a unique lithography-based metal manufacturing technology. It is a technology combining photopolymerization with powdered metals to produce high-precision parts with a fine surface finish. At their booth, there was a demonstration of prints that were getting smaller and smaller. The prints you see now are only a few millimeters to units of centimeters. So it's no problem to print finger joint implants, for example. However, it is not a problem to print much smaller objects with this technology. For example, these orthodontic braces have dimensions of just a few millimeters. And as a final example, I have here a showcase of precisely printed components for surgical robots. King's 3D is a Chinese manufacturer of industrial 3D printers. This one, for example, had print area dimensions of 1.8 by 1.2 by 1.1 meters. It has a nozzle with a diameter of 1 to 8 mm and can be heated up to 350 degrees C or 450 degrees C if you buy the more powerful model. The print bed can be heated up to 120 degrees C, so it is not a problem to print more industrial materials. LugoLabs is a South Korean company focused on industrial 3D printers, software, and materials. They came to the fair with their FDM 3D printer Lugo H1. It's actually something like Prusa Core 1 with Index from Bondtech, but a functional and ready-made solution. A version with 4 interchangeable heads was shown, but you can have up to 6. Each head has its own docking station with its own filament poop basket and its own fan to cool the nozzle after it's parked. This allows for very quick parking of the print head without filament leaking out of the nozzle. When the print head is reactivated, a small spit out of the filament occurs and the printer can continue printing. Each head can have a different filament diameter, which was also demonstrated on this exhibited printer. For example, this head had an elastic material with a hardness of 60A and a filament diameter of 2.85 mm. This makes printing elastic material much easier. For this printer, this was used primarily to print the shoes that were on display here. It is a great pity that this company is not better known and that it has kept mainly to Korea until now. I also stopped by the small stand of Metal 3D, which is a Korean 3D printer manufacturer, specializing in SLM and industrial metal additive manufacturing services. They didn't have much at their stand, but what was there was a joy to look at. Mimaki Engineering is a Japanese technology company that has been one of the world leaders in inkjet printing since 1975. While most 3D printer manufacturers focus on mechanical properties, Mimaki specializes in what it does best: color, detail, and visual quality. Their 3D printers use UV inkjet technology, which combines precise droplets of colored ink with UV curing. The result is full-color 3D models with over 10 million shades, smooth surface, and fine details that other technologies can't reproduce. Now I will be quiet for a moment and show you the beauties that graced their stand. Thanks to the technology they use, it's no problem to print transparent models that will take your breath away. Most of these prints are mainly used as decorative or demonstration items to show the skills of this technology. However, as you can see, it is not a problem to print fashion accessories or even wall dresses. The next stop was at miniFactory, a Finnish manufacturer of industrial 3D printers focused on ultrapolymers. Their Ignite 3D printer was on display at their stand. This machine has a print area of 600 to 400 to 400 mm. It can heat the print chamber together with the heated bed up to 200 degrees C and has 2 nozzles with temperatures up to 480 degrees C. It also has a built-in material dryer, as the materials it can print simply cannot come close to air moisture. The printer has no problem printing materials such as ULTEM AM9085F, PEEK also with carbon fiber, ULTEM AM1010F, PVDF, PEC, TPI, PPSU, as well as more common materials such as nylon with carbon fiber, polycarbonate, ABS or ASA. Remote management, quality control, and a camera in the print chamber are a matter of course. Mosaic Composites is an Italian technology company that develops advanced composite 3D printing technologies. At their stand was this robotic arm which was printing vinyl ester resin with 45% glass fiber. This resin, which prints without the need of heating, cures during printing with UV light, allowing even very complex shapes to be printed. After printing is finished, this robotic arm can switch tools, for example to a milling cutter, and further machine the final print to perfection. Mosaic Manufacturing Ltd. Is a Canadian manufacturer of automated FDM 3D printing systems known for the Array platform and previously for the Pellet. On display at their stand was their automated manufacturing platform called Array. The array is essentially a small 3D printing farm in one machine, optimized for industrial deployment. The system consists of 4 industrial FDM 3D printers and a robotic gantry that automatically changes the print plates. It's basically the same system as the Prusa Pro AFS. While the array only has 4 printers instead of the 9 that the Prusa Pro AFS has, the print area and maximum temperatures are higher with the array. In addition to array, there was also their 3D printer called Element, which is an industrial 3D printer with a print area of 355 to 355 to 355 mm. The print chamber can be heated up to 80 degrees C, the bed can be heated to 120 degrees C, and the nozzle can be heated up to 450 degrees C. Multiax International is an Italian manufacturer of large format CNC machines and hybrid LFAM systems that combine 3D printing of composites and precise 5-axis machining. At the fair with them was their LFAM P-Series printer. The Multiax P-Series is an industrial 5-axis CNC center that, in its Hybrid X version, allows you to combine large format 3D printing and precision machining in one machine. In collaboration with Ref3RD, the company is developing an extruder that is capable of printing at speeds of up to 25 kg per hour. Nikon SLM Solutions brought along this huge SLM printer labeled as the NXG600E. The Nikon NXG600E is the most powerful large format SLM printer that Nikon SLM Solutions offers. It is designed for mass production of large metal parts, especially in the aerospace, defense, and energy industries. The printer features 12 lasers, each with 1 kW of power, which significantly reduces the cost per part and enables true mass production of metal parts. The print area is 600 to 1500 mm and therefore has no problem printing really large metal parts. This beautiful and damn heavy print was finished in less than 6 days. 1-3D is a Czech company from Mlhanice, one of the largest providers of industrial 3D printing in Central Europe. According to its official website, 1-3D is described as the Czech leader in additive manufacturing. The company specializes in plastic and metal parts, prototypes, small series, post-processing, and development. In 2024, 1-3D announced the acquisition of the Nikon NXG600E printer I showed you a little while ago. They had these beautiful metal prints on the stand. They even had information on them that they came directly from this printer. Phaetus is a Chinese manufacturer of high-end components for FDM printers known for its powerful hot ends, nozzles, and extruders. Their products are designed for high temperatures, accurate extrusion, and compatibility with a wide range of printers. Here, Phaetus showcased its latest extruder, the Phaetus DXC version 2, which is just like its predecessor, a powerful, affordable, and very stable direct drive extruder designed primarily for the Creality K1 printer series. I personally got hooked on the Phaetus SIC nozzle for the Prusa extruder, which is a silicon carbide tipped nozzle. It is designed for high durability, accuracy, and long life, especially when printing abrasive materials. Pragostroj SRO is a Czech company that focuses on industrial solutions for FDM 3D printing, both by developing its own printers and providing related services. Their main product is large format FDM 3D printers of their own design, known as Pragostroj Kinarp. The maximum nozzle temperature is 300 degrees C with the possibility of having 2 nozzles. The maximum bed temperature is the standard 110 degrees C, and in the Kinarp 2HC variant, the print chamber can be heated up to 80 degrees C. As an option there is, for example, a drying box above the printer or a drying cabinet next to the printer. The drying cabinet has an automatic temperature control that reaches a temperature of only 45 degrees C. However, it has an electronic lock and access can be restricted to security card holders only. You probably all know the Czech company Prusa Research. At the fair, it was possible to see, for example, prints from their Prusament filament. Here I was most interested in their own TPU filament optimized for printing on 3D printers. There was also a 3D printed Prusacaster guitar by Mikolas Zuza, which is printed from Prusament. There were also new products we saw at Prusa Day, such as the Prusa Signature Oak, which is a Prusa Core 1 in a box made from 100-year-old oak. Their new OpenPrint tag was also presented here, which is an NFC tag that contains information about the filament on the spool. I really enjoyed the presentation of the EasyPrint online slicer, which was presented on a tablet placed in a frame from Prusa MK4. Among the items we already know was the Prusa Pro HT90 industrial 3D printer, for example. The heated bed can be heated up to 155 degrees C, the heated chamber up to 90 degrees C, and the high temperature nozzle up to 500 degrees C. Another system we are already familiar with from Prusa is this Prusa Pro AFS. The Prusa Pro AFS is an automated farm system that has 9 Core XY printers and an automatic plate changing system. This system has come a very long way since its announcement at Expo 2020 in Dubai, but more about it sometime in the future. Most companies come to the show to show off their new products, and this is also the case with Prusa Research. Among the new products was the Prusa Core 1 Plus, which is the Prusa Core 1 with a few extras from the Prusa Core 1L, such as automatic opening of the upper ventilation grill or the option to release the pass-through to the filament sensor for flexible filament. This upgrade is also available for purchase on Prusa3D.com, and I already have it installed on my Prusa Core 1. There is also a new filament spool holder on the Prusa Core 1 Plus that can now be used on the newly introduced filament box. This airtight dry box is made of hydroponic polypropylene. A moisture absorbent can be inserted into the box using the opening on both sides of the box. The box also has a digital hygrometer, and a label can be inserted with information about the inserted filament. The boxes can be stacked on top of each other or side by side. It can even be placed on a Prusa Pro HT90 or a Prusa MK4S. Also introduced was a new hot end for the extruder that can heat the nozzle up to 400 degrees. This allows you to print materials such as PEC, PPS, PPS-CF, PPSU, PPA, and many other industrial materials. The new Prusa Core 1L in the critical infrastructure version was also seen here. This is a modified version of the Prusa Core 1L that can only print from an encrypted disk. Also there was the Prusa XL in 3 modifications. One was from Jon Schone of Proper Printing, who modified the print heads so that they can print TPU 60A. The second was the XL, which had a pick-and-place style toolhead designed for fitting parts. This project is a collaboration with the Zurich University of Applied Sciences and is a technological demonstration of the XL's versatility behind 3D printing itself. The electromagnet was chosen to demonstrate the insertion of nuts into the print at the show. The third was fitted with a print head for printing 2-part silicone. You may have already seen this at Prusa Day. And as a final curiosity, the one you are probably waiting for the most was the introduction of the Bondtech index on the Prusa Core 1. The first stage in which the Founders Edition will be shipped out starts in the first quarter 2026, and it will be shipped directly by Bondtech. Why? Because they are the authors of the solution. Prusa Research is mainly working on the implementation on its Core 1 series printers. The second stage, when it will be possible to purchase this upgrade on Prusa3D.com, will start after that. But to say something about this miracle, it's a multi-material printing system. All the electronics remain on the print head, and only the filament passage and the nozzle with induction heating and heatsink are changed. So there is no need to clean the nozzle after a material change, and the tool change itself is very quick. Chinese manufacturer Ceratizit is known for offering powerful, fast, and often enclosed printers at very competitive prices. So I don't understand why there was hardly anyone at their stand. Probably the most interesting thing at their stand was the CEAD Max 4 FDM printer. Its print area is 390 to 340 mm. The nozzle temperature is up to 370 degrees C, the heated bed up to 120 degrees C, and the chamber can be heated up to 65 degrees C. But what I found more interesting was the box next to the printer that draws in and cools the air, which then blows onto the extruder wheels. This minimizes the risk of the filament softening as it passes through the extruder. RevaPoint is a Chinese manufacturer of portable 3D scanners. Instead of a portable solution, I was more interested in this industrial 3D scanning solution called RevaPoint TrackIt. It is a combination of a main 3D scanner and a secondary tracker, which is a wide-angle scanner that tracks the movement of the main unit. There was also a variant with a robotic arm called MetroHub. With this solution, an incredibly accurate 3D scan can be obtained. Rapid Liquid Print, aka RLP, was formed as a spin-off startup from American MIT. As the main product at their stand was the RLP Levity printer. This is because it is the first commercial 3D printer that prints silicon objects directly in gel without gravity, without supports, and extremely fast. The print area is 500 to 500 to 500 mm, so it can handle larger prints. Here you can see a sample of some of the prints on display from this printer. There was also a demonstration of practical use in the form of a motorcycle seat, shock absorber covers, handlebar grips, and helmet padding. Safina is a traditional Czech company with more than 160 years of history, which is one of the leaders in the processing of precious metals in Central and Eastern Europe. At their stand was a demonstration of their proprietary gas atomized metal powders for additive manufacturing. They were mainly copper powders, but also special alloys such as aluminium bronze, copper with silver, or pure silver with a very high purity of 99.99%. Sysma is an Italian manufacturer of metal and resin 3D printers. It is a world leader in precious metal printing and a strong player in the jewelry, fashion, and dental industries, which is exactly what they presented at their stand. There were plenty of prints and jewelry on the stand in platinum, 18-karat gold with 13% palladium, beta titanium alloys, or stainless steel. Smart Materials 3D is a Spanish manufacturer of filaments for FDM printing, known for its wide range of materials. At Formnext, they brought a beautiful demonstration of their PLA Lightweight, which is an expandable lightweight filament that can reduce part weight by up to 65%. This material was used to make this entire wall several meters high. Chinese company Snapmaker came to Formnext to show its new product called Snapmaker U1, which is a tool changer like the Prusa XL, but with 4 print heads instead of 5. With 4 interchangeable heads, it can print 4 different materials in one print. We will talk more about it in another video. There were also prints from these printers on display at their stand, showing not only the combination of colors, but also the different materials. Polish filament manufacturer Spectrum Filaments came to show their extensive portfolio of materials for FDM 3D printers. There was a toy box of PLA with lots of bright colors. I must not forget to show this truck with a length of almost 80 centimeters printed by my friend Rafal from Spectrum Filaments. In addition to materials like PLA, PETG, and similar, Spectrum brought along their range of technical materials. These included polycarbonate with carbon fiber, nylon with carbon fiber, ASA with Kevlar, and PPS AM230, for example. While I was at Bondtech, I bumped into a guy from Swiss 3DC. He introduced me to a prototype of a tool changer with Starlex interchangeable heads. It had 5 separate heads in a very small space, along with an extruder feed wheel, heatsink, thermistor, and 2 heating elements. Yes, you heard right. With 2 heating elements. This hot end is made up of 2 heating elements that open up like pliers, and this nozzle is inserted between them. It can be changed without the need for any tools. If you are interested, be sure to check out their website. Tesseract Technologies is a Dutch high-tech startup that develops linear motors for 3D printers and other precision machines. These linear motors have a precision of 0.5 micrometers with a force of up to 70 newtons and speeds of up to 500 millimeters per second. With these parameters, they offer higher accuracy, speed, and reliability than conventional belt systems. At Formnext, they were finalists in the Formnext Awards 2025 in the Rookie Award category, which is for young innovative companies. Hong Kong company Wondermaker came to show their new FDM 3D printer Wondermaker ZR Ultra. It is a tool changer like the Prusa XL or Snapmaker U1. Like the Snapmaker U1, it has 4 interchangeable print heads, so it can also handle 4 different materials in one print. The spools are on the right side only, instead on both sides like the Snapmaker U1 or Prusa XL. However, there are more differences between these printers. I also saw a lot of prints from this printer at the stand, and I have to say, I'm really looking forward to 2026. I was very surprised by the German company Xolo. They came to present their xylography technology, which is volumetric 3D printing using intersecting light beams. This technology creates objects in their entire volume at once, without layers, with a resolution of up to 5 micrometers and extremely smooth surface. I saw many miniature prints at the booth that literally had no visible layers. As the last one here, I have the company Uzumi Germany GmbH, which is a German development and sales branch of the Chinese company Uzumi Group. At their stand, for example, the Space A production line could be seen, assembled from a robotic arm and a belt conveyor. The robotic arm had a pellet extruder on it and printed directly onto the belt conveyor. The finished print was then moved aside so that a new part could be printed. The quality of the printed parts was very good according to my untrained eye. And that brings us to the end of this video. I don't know about you, but Formnext was quite an eye-opening experience for me. I don't remember who, but someone at the show told me that the section where Bambu Lab and Prusa Research were located was called the Toy Store. I didn't quite get it at first, but after seeing what you may have just seen as well, I got it. Before Formnext, I used to think of printing materials like PEEK, PEG, Ultem and others as incredibly difficult. At Formnext, I saw printers printing these materials like we print PLA. Before Formnext, I was thinking how 350 degrees C on the nozzle, 100 degrees C on the heated bed, and 65 degrees C in the chamber is a lot. At Formnext, I saw printers that heated the nozzle to 500 degrees C and the heated bed along with the chamber up to 200 degrees C. Before the Formnext, I was only familiar with a couple of old projects as tool changers, the Prusa XL and the newly introduced Snapmaker U1. At Formnext, I have seen printers that can not only do multiple materials, but literally tools. There were even tool changers that had high-temperature nozzles, water-cooled hot ends, and could incorporate continuous carbon or glass fiber and even metal wire into prints. Before Formnext, metal printing was something I had heard of but never seen in person. At Formnext, there were printers that sintered metal powder with a laser and subsequently machined this print into the final shape. Just out of curiosity, DMG Mori introduced a printer that could do this, called the LaserTech 65 3D, 11 years ago. Before Formnext, I didn't really notice how widespread the use of robotic arms for 3D printing large objects was. At Formnext, there were a lot of companies using robotic arms to print their furniture. But there was a lot more to it than that. Unfortunately, I was only in Germany for 2 days, and this is all I managed to film and comment for you. I can't wait for the next Formnext in 2026.